Hey, what's poppin'? Yeah, Pastor Roller Rock in the building. As we move and groove through what we need to be doing, I'm gonna go read to E is Readaer. RE, which means to bring back, to bring back. And AD is to add on words. So we're in the midst of reading right now. The particular artist was Dr. York, and in the track, and that was in 1980. So if you wasn't here in 1980, or you've been here since 1980, and you have not conformed, changed, rearranged your lifestyle, then you got by those who got you. So as I continue to read, we're coming out of chapter 1 of the Holy Tablets, tablet 2, which is entitled The Beginning, 19 times 6, 114. It says, Lo, the very beginning was the word, nothing would exist if Anu, Elyon, El didn't create it. And nothing was created except by the way of Allahu Akbar. He was and is and will be the intellect, which is also called right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding. He was not always the green solar light, but created himself into a green light to be a witness of his creation as El Elo. El Rab, sustainer of glory, illuminating the green light of Michael, from himself to rule Malakut, the highest of all the rabbis of the Anunnaki, Elohim of the crystal essence, which is the splendor of beauty. The crystal essence became divided into two parts. One was extremely pure and luminous, however, the other appeared to the vision of the intellect to be inferior to the first. The first was called light, the pure green light, and the light of the Anunnaki, seraphim, those agreeable beings. And the second was called fire, the impure amber light, the light of the Anunnaki, cherubim, those dissipable beings. Of the first is to come noble and superior individuals, the souls of the news bearers, the apostles, El Messiah, El Mahdi, El Mujadid, and the people of the right hand. All agreeable things are created from the green light of the benevolent beings, the Anunnaki, Yowayan, the seraphim, and did manifest green, but in time, as the iron replaced the magnesium molecule, the pure melanin was lost. Thus, from green to rust. Of the second, the fire was created. Malevolent beings, the Illuminati, which are the gens of the disagreeable Anunnaki, the disagreeable Yowayan, who are the cherubims. The cherubims are a race of disagreeable Anunnaki who were created before Zaka. These are followers of Tanish and Shakha and the Luciferian. One third of these beings from Ilium were cast into their home in the 19th galaxy, Ilium, where the Akasha records are kept, as opposed to Sejin, where the Azeret records are kept, to make a new home in the Orion skies constellation. The cycles. The first cycle was a dot in the universe. Then that dot became a line. That line became a wall. The wall became a square. And thus geometry was created and dimensions were formed. When the Elohim of the 360 degrees of being split into two beings of 180 degrees each. If the male child is agreeable, the female twin counterpart is disagreeable. If the female is agreeable, the male twin counterpart is disagreeable. The one must conquer the other. In this way was the disagreeable being created, calling them twins. The creation of the Luciferians or Jinn was the end of the first cycle. In the beginning of the second cycle was a half diameter of 7,000 years, in which you have what you call the angelic beings, be they agreeable cherubim or disagreeable cherubim. They, the race of Nooks, were cast down and made to dwell on the second plane. El Elo, the source, gave them rules and comfort at the end of the second cycle, or the 14,000 years after their creation. At the beginning of the third cycle, you have the disagreeable cherubims and the agreeable seraphims, both of which are called the Yahwehan or the Jehovahans. And also you have the Adamites, which took 7,000 years. After that, the Nuktars began to do disagreeable acts and disobey. El Elo, the head of Yahweh, the source, commanded them. Nuktars, also called Lucifer, was an extra being on Terra, or what you refer to as extra terrestrial or extraterrestrial. The Luciferians came out of a group of extraterrestrial beings called the Yahwehians, sometimes called Jehovahans. The Luciferians would interfere with the beings on this planet called Earth and pass themselves off as gods. The Luciferians, after taking their independence, were allowed to work with the Yahwehians together as one time to conquer certain portions of the planet. But one such Luciferian named Halal, son of Shakha, wanted to rule all the stars of the heavens, meaning all the Yahwehians. The Leviathan, or the Luciferians, have been trying to gain control over this planet for many thousands of Earth years. They are called the sex spirit force, also called Porne. They're able to seduce and deceive all those with desires on Earth, turning lust to luster, thereby attracting and controlling all with it. As Nicobar was seduced by the Leviathan powers of lust, is the death of divinity and the birth of mortality. This is why the intergalactical confederation quarantined the planet. If enough entities were looking for freedom from the control of the Luciferians, the intergalactical confederation would remove these forces from the earth. Yet humans love to lust and lust to love, expressing energy and motion, overexerting their emotions, bringing about their spiritual death. This is a group called the Satanists, who are not the same as Luciferians. The other names are the Divines and the Kashites or Khanas. These Satanists are more sadistic than the Luciferians and are also called Noctus, which is simply Satan spelled backwards. Satan equal Noctus. They are also called Shayatim. They are supplanted. They have supplanted themselves in every portion of life you can think of, and now they have you naming yourselves after them. The Satanists seek mind control and dominance, while the Luciferians seek to control the energies of others. They are best described as vampires who draw energy from others, called Dracula, Dragos, or serpent dragons, called Leviathan. The Luciferians are from a planet called Maldik, the 11th planet. This planet called Earth has Luciferians and Yoaans, and some of them are disagreeable Elohims. They don't usually work together. However, they will come together if they are common interests. They were the original 4 and 20 elders. They were 12 ex-Luciferians, the dissatisfied. The other 12 was agreeable, the Nears. This that's why you have 12 satisfied and 12 dissatisfied. Shachar subjected all of them, Jehovahans, called Luciferians, to the chastisement of prediction, except the weak ones of the family of Elohims. These he pardoned and has appointed one of them, Halashi, to be the governor, and he granted them a new law called religion. It was other than the wobble, sound right reasoning. When the cycle elapsed, the wicked sons of Tarnish blasphemed the committed disagreeable acts because their nature was intended to recalcitrate or to show defiance. Anu, Elion El, the Most High, sent Murdoch, the son of Enki and Damkina, who is Michael, and the disagreeable beings to admonish them and advise them. However, it was in vain. Murdoch was sent because he knew their nature, having been the disagreeable twin of his sister Baalat, who was agreeable. So in the beginning of the 4th cycle of the 7,000 years, you have seraphims and cherubims and humans, later called humans, be they agreeable or disagreeable. You see, the cycle is broken up into 4. When these disagreeable beings were cast out, 1/3 of them was cast out from the 19th galaxy Ilium with Tarnish. Now you have the sun, and you have 10 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Titan, Uranus, Neptune, and Plato, which are your calculations of this planet. However, you shall know the truth. Now let me continue. You have the sun and the planets, Mercury, Venus, and Earth. The Earth is the 3rd planet from the sun, which is 93 million miles away. At the 93rd attribute of Allah is El Nur, meaning the light. The sun is the light, the 93rd attribute, and the number 90 and 3 million miles is the distance, and that is no coincidence. The sun is the bright morning star. The circumference of the planet Earth, which is the circle around it, is 20,004,896 miles. That varies because, as you know, your planet expands and contracts seasonally. There is a universal equinox and a earthly equinox. The planet Earth goes around the sun, called solar, which is the center of the solar system, 65 and 300 Earth days. This varies because the hours in a day are not always 4 and 20, but can be 3 and 20 hours, 6 and 50 minutes, 6 seconds, and others. You will calculate that as one day when in reality it varies. The moon moves around the planet 50 and 4 and 300 Earth days. Again, the moon cycle varies, and you call that one lunar year. So now you have this motion of the moon around the planet and your planet around the sun. And you have this whole galaxy or solar system, which is central solar, with systematic bodies moving around it. It moves around a larger mass every 20 and 4,000 Earth years. Of course, that varies in an equinox. So your equinox varies from 20 and 4,000 to 24,896 years. The planet Earth positioned itself in the location of the revolution of the Earth in the year 1970, which was the end of the third cycle as you know it, the end of the moon cycle of water and birth of the sun cycle, also the birth of this writing, set to renew your Earth's history. As you can see, the wise Rixian, the Anunnaki have made land to equal 1 mile per year, and the circumference of the planet Earth is 20 and 4,896 miles. It takes 20 and 4,896 years for the cycle to take place. The wise round the figure off into 4 cycles of 6,000 years, which you call one equinox, an age. And other years are in constant speed and movement of the planet, making it right and exact. They, the elders, have made land, mile, 1 mile to equal each year, of which time is to renew our history. What happened is that we have 4 cycles in this cycle called the equinox. Thus, you will see the single cycle is gone, and now we're into the quad cycle. Overstand that. By that I mean the quad cycle, which is this: assuming your sun and your planet is moving, it doesn't move perfectly around, it moves in the egg-shaped motion. Egg-shaped motion. It is broken up to the points 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 2 points from the planet is far away from the sun called solstices. Thus you have 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall, called seasons. Now that is just the planet and its motion around the sun. But note, when we take your solar system and cause it to revolve around a larger mass, the universe, there are also 4 periods. The furthest periods from the sun are called the silver periods or the silver ages. That is the moon cycle. You have 2 silver or moon cycles. Because of the magnetic pull that the sun has, the Earth elliptic motion speeds up and slow down. Your planet is not going around and around at the same speed as you may think. You will see that each one of these periods, because of the number 4 and 20, has been divided into 4 6,000-year cycles. The first 6,000-year period was from the first silver moon cycle, which was the first cycle that the Earth was furthest away from the sun, to the first gold sun cycle, which was the first cycle that the Earth was closest to the sun. The second 6,000-year period was from the first gold sun to the second silver moon. The third 6,000-year period is from the second silver moon to the gold sun. And the fourth and final 6,000 years is going to be from the second gold sun back to the beginning, the first silver moon. In the fourth cycle, the Luciferian race made war upon the Anunnaki of the pure green light. The Elohim triumphed over the race of Jinn and captured one of them who was under the age of maturity, named Iblis, meaning despaired or rebellious one. He or his other name was Lucifer, being the liberated Luciferian. Iblis was educated amongst the Anunnaki, and he improved by degrees so much that he was honored to be made a teacher of the Anunnaki. You must remember the Luciferian, being one of the most rare Luciferians, was almost all in all polarized. Luciferians was a product of a mixed marriage, being the sons of the two beings. The reptilian, Tarnish, raped the Anunnaki, Mylitta. Luciferian was part of a reptilian and part Anunnaki. This is why he was called the serpent that spoke beside the tree in the enclosed garden of delight. Thus, there were beings who appeared to have a compromising attitude or personality. Yet it was Lucifer who appeared to be headstrong and have a disagreeable nature and an uncompromising attitude or personality. However, from his loins came Jabarians called Gaborium, the majestic mighty ones. The strength of the Luciferians made them able to better deceive the seed of Adam by their physical human-like appearance. And he, Iblis, aspired to become the guiding light, the ruler, the sultan of all the stars of the heaven, the prince of Cherub. In his heart, he sought the very throne of Anu. He was called Samuel in short, with the vapor of self-complacency and conceit, which is the real nature of Iblis. Next, he wanted to scale the skies to try to control and rule all the stars, the Wayans, the angelic hosts, the heavens. Very often, he would incite unnecessary arguments, pretend his excellence by means of deceitful illusion and diabolical stratagems. Once some of the company of agreeable Anakin and Anunnaki were going to have to look at the preserved tablet, which is the holiest of holy scriptures, upon which contain the record of the past, the future, called Manir, illuminated records of the Akasha records. On their return, Iblis received marks of grief on their foreheads and asked them for the cause. They replied, "This day we have obtained the information from the tablet that one of the Anunnaki, Seraphim, Mukarrabum, the companions of Michael El, of the mansion of the Eternal, shall soon be afflicted with ejection and everlasting damnation. Everyone is afraid for his own sake, and we request you to pray that the guardian Anunnaki may allow none of us to fall into this misfortune." We were very much terrified and dismayed. Then Iblis answered them, saying, "Let not this disturb you, for that judgment referred neither to me nor you. I have years ago been aware of it and have not communicated it to anyone." The pride of arrogance of Iblis did not allow him to weigh the words of the Anunnaki, and that time the blessed proclamation reached the hearing of the inhabitants. The echo of the success of Zaka reached their ears. On hearing the news, their depressed ejaculation prevented their being from their kindred anger of the unhallowed, disagreeable doer Iblis. And he spoke, said, "How can mortals, created of dust, claim to be a being of superiority, and I am created before him of fire?" So the Anunnaki, having guessed the event to come from the sons of Tanis, said to El Elo, "Will you make a mischief maker in it, who shall shed blood That was repeated by the Cushites on the planet Earth by the command of Anun el Elo, Michael El, son of Enki and Damnika, and the grandson of Anu, who would descend to the fourth plane. He advised and warned the race of Noctis, who had gone astray from the straight path. This took place before the physical war was waged with them. It was a mental war, and the agreeable Anunnaki were victorious. This, however, would not be the last time that the forces of agreeable and disagreeable would battle. Be not ignorant of our knowledge. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as with the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field has never been set, and no one has ever reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, and yet they are found amongst the women who gather at the grindstones. Be diligent as long as you live. Always do more than is command of you. Do not misuse your time while following your heart, for it is offensive to the soul to waste one's time.
so I really rock that song. In LA, I was on the beach in DC. I just rocked it, but in New York City, I had no way, so I really rock that song. In LA, I was on the beach in DC. I just rocked it, but in New York City, I had no way, so I really rock that song. Now I'm on the rock, I'm out the rock, don't stop, don't stop. I'm on the rock, I'm out the rock, don't stop, don't stop. I was on the beach in DC, I just rocked it, but in New York City, I had no way, so I really rocked that song. Now I'm on the rock, I'm out the rock, don't stop, don't stop. I'm on the rock, I'm out the rock, don't stop, don't stop. I'm the baddest skater, but I don't see no else to go. If you don't let me get the mad rocker, and I'm not gonna stay and get my guy. I don't need no hope, don't need no hope, gonna stay and get me high. Let me get the mad rocker, and I'm not gonna stay and get my guy. I don't need no hope, don't need no hope, gonna stay and get me high. But you want the baby, smelling like a gun, and don't stop the cry. I don't need no hope, don't need no hope, no hope, don't need no hope, no hope, don't need no hope. No, don't stay and get me high. But you want the baby, smelling like a gun, and don't stop the cry. No, don't stay and get me high. But you want the baby, smelling like a gun, and don't stop the cry.